front here, giving you kind of the frontal view here. This is just a little bit over 17 feet in length, tip to tip. So it's 17 foot 5 inches is what they claim. Now your height with this rack on the roof, keep in mind that you're also going to be getting an air conditioner. Let me just step up here to show you where the air conditioner is going to go. So the air conditioner is going to go right where this vent is. So at your highest point, you're just going to be right at about 8 feet, maybe 8 feet 1 inch if you have the air conditioner. Without the air conditioner, at the top of that vent, you're going to be about 91 inches tall. So this is what the roof rack looks like up top here. So now let's talk about the width. Your width on this, you're going to be about 7 foot 8 inches with those 7 foot 8 inches with the wheel well flares right there. Now on the front, it's going to come with one battery. By the way, the actual dry weight on this one, although the brochure says 2,111 pounds, they actually weigh them when they're done. And as you can see, the actual dry weight, I don't know if that's coming through clear or not, is 2,180 pounds. Now that does not include filling with the propane, nor the battery, or any of your cargo and things of that nature. You have a cargo carrying capacity of 1,062 pounds, giving you a gross vehicle weight rating of 3,259 pounds. So that is kind of the specs on this. We'll talk about some more when we get inside. Now on this side, so this would be the driver's side of the camper, you have access to the storage. Now in there, that is going to be your screen room. I know they call it an attic room. It is not an attic room. It is a screen room. For those of you that saw it on the 9.0 video, I'll link that down below if you need to see that. That is quite the addition. Gives you a little bit of space now because this one is wider. You're going to have a little bit more room. Now this is also where the table is stored. You can see they have the table in here, and then you have access to this storage from the inside as well. So be cognitive of how you're stacking things in here. This is a great place to put the door, and I'll show you what I'm talking about in here when you're not using it, or actually when you're actually using it here. Now underneath, you're going to see that this thing does come with 4 stabilizer jacks. They're stabilizers, they're not levelers. Of course, you have this hose right there. That's going to be for your fresh tank dump. You have your low point drains here as well. And of course, you can see your leaf springs and the oversized off-road aggressive tread tires. Those are 15-inch tires. Now, if you're fortunate enough to be in a campground that has, if you're in a campground, you can connect cable here. Then you have a cable connection for inside or outside. Now, the other thing you can do with this, what we call cable connection, is you can buy yourself an HD antenna, and you can just suction a cup either to the front here, or you can even suction cup it to the window, and you, depending on your location, have the ability of picking up local channels. Now when we get inside, you're going to like this window here, because for those of you that might be dry camping, it gives you some nice breeze coming across the bed. Now you are going to see that it comes with, you have the water heater, of course, for your fresh tank fill, city water fill there. This is where your electrical cord comes out. Now keep in mind that this is a highway to your camper. So I recommend 2 things that you could do to keep critters from climbing up here. The first is that right in this area, if you put some brass wool, stuff it in there, and that way there when you close this down, critters aren't going to be able to get in there. If you want added protection, what you can do is from the ground up several inches, you go ahead and put some Vaseline. Just remember that it's there before you put that cord away. That is where your furnace exhaust is. You know, the easiest way to keep critters out when you're not using it, you just take masking tape, put it on it. That way there it makes it easier to take off and put back on. And then you have your antenna. This antenna is for your stereo, which we will be showing you when we get inside. Now, if you want to call this your camping side, passenger side of your vehicle, this is what it looks like. A lot going on here. Kind of go through each item. So you're going to have your outside shower. Now, the nice thing with that, that's hot and cold water. And, you know, you have this thing about a few feet, so you can actually rinse yourself off and so forth. Now, just behind that, let me show you what's behind this storage door anyway. Now, when you're opening this door, to ensure that you could latch it there, what you need to do is correct the way your lock is, your locking mechanism. Let me just show you on this side what I'm talking about. So if you have the locking mechanism down here like this, you're not going to be able to latch that door. So you just take this latch, put it up top when you open that door, and then it will latch. So let's go back over to this storage bin. Now, the cool thing about this, you can have access to it from the inside, but notice that you have an outlet in here, and it's GFI protected. Now, not sure why they put that there, but you know, it's always good to have additional outlets. And that also gives you an outlet out here on the back side. So that way there, if you have the screen room back here, you're able to go ahead and connect to that. And with, you know, electric, and look, they actually have a TV. This is for your cable, or if you wanted to plug in an antenna, I'll show you what you can do with that. There's a TV backer on the wall. Wouldn't necessarily recommend that you put a TV bracket on the wall there. It'd be kind of a small TV that you'd be putting there, but that's kind of a nice little feature. So nice little storage there. Now right here, this is going to be your drain for your sink. Now the nice thing about that kind of a drain is the fact that you can hook a hose to it and run that down to wherever you need to so they can run away. Or a lot of people, because you're not using a lot of water, you can just put a 5-gallon bucket right below here, and that way there you can use that water to douse your fire and so forth. Moving down here, you're going to notice that they all come with this holder here. Now that is for you to put your outside stove on. And let me talk to you about that. Now I know I said outside stove, I meant outside grill. I do not recommend that you use it this way. In my estimation, that's putting weight on that wall over time. I believe it is going to create issues. On top of that, when you're cooking on this and then your top gets hot, as you can see when you open it, look at how close it is to your camper. Over time, that will deteriorate your camper. Now I know you're saying to me, well, Paul, how am I supposed to use this? Great question. Let me show you. So the first thing you're going to do is remove these pins that'll be in here. This is on, these pins are to keep it, when it's in this position, from falling off. Then all you're going to do is you're going to remove it from here. You're going to set it this way. And then on the grill, the cool thing is, let me show you on the grill here. So you see how it has, this is for when you're hanging it on the side, which I don't recommend. But then notice at the bottom, I'm just going to set that grill right on that stand. So now your camper comes with a table. You can use this table. You can use your picnic table that comes typically with your site, whatever, and then just connect it to your LP back behind here. You don't, you know, if the LP connection that comes with it is too short, you can always get yourself a longer one. I have an 18-footer. I don't use the grill. I use a Blackstone griddle, but kind of the same thing. Allows me the convenience of putting it wherever I'd like to put it, within reason anyway. So that's how I'd recommend that you use this outside grill, and you'll be much happier in the long run, and then you're not going to run into having issues with this. Now don't forget about sealing that edge, because you do have 3 holes that was put in there. You want to make sure water's not going to get in there. So I'm liking the blue lights. By the way, there's a switch on the inside, so you have 1 on the side here, and you're going to have 2 on the back, which is kind of nice. Now, I think what most people are going to like about the fact that it's 12.0 is the fact that you have this side door. And the benefit of having the side door is because of the height in here, and I'm going to go over that, you can actually get in and get out of this camper with this side door without popping this thing up. You could use everything in there if you pull over the side, and that way there, you don't have to worry about, you know, in the 9.0, if you were to get in and then close the door, somebody could lock you in there. Whereas with this one, not going to be an issue. Just giving you an idea what it looks like on the back side. Now, being a little wider than a 9.0, that's going to make that screen room much more enjoyable and usable. But let's get inside and take a look at what it's offering. As you can see, I have the blue little night lights things on there. You're going to have yourself a full kitchen. You have your refrigerator, you have your cooktop, and you have your microwave. Now, I was talking about being able to utilize this thing with the lid closed. You can take a look at that roof line. So, let me just go ahead and sit here and you'll see what I'm talking about. So I'm sitting here, and as you can see, my head is below the roof line. So you just come in here, sit down, relax if you need to. You have to move your door, the one-piece door, which will be on the bed. But this is a 54 by 74 inch bed. Come in here and crash a little bit. Now, of course, you're not going to be able to use the microwave unless you have a generator. But your refrigerator's going. This is a 3-way refrigerator, so you can run it on 110 propane while you're using it, or as you're driving it down the road, because your vehicle will be charging it, you can run it on battery. So this is what it looks like on the inside. If you remember earlier, I spoke about a TV connection on the inside. There it is right there. 110 outlet, GFI protected. Another 110 outlet over here. And let's talk about what you have over here. This is a 12 volt so this is a 12 volt center here. So if you wanted to, if you had 2 batteries on here, or if you just want to do it with one, you could get yourself one of those small inverters and put it in here and hook it up to a coffee pot so you're able to make some coffee. Charge your phones. That's your water heater switch. This is your water pump switch, so when you're on your water for the tank here, you need pressure. That's where you're able to use it. And another outlet right there. Looking over here next, these are the switches. One's going to be for outside, your outside lights, and the other one is going to be for your inside lights. This is your inside and outside, although it all depends on how they wire it up. Now, I know I talked about GFI outlet. Here is where the GFI outlet is from a reset. So whenever you're plugged into 110 power, there's only three things that could go wrong, or 3 things that could be causing the problem if one of your outlets were not working. 1, it's the plug you're plugged into. 2, it could be the GFI. Or 3, you could have your breakers and fuses, which are right in here. That would be the 3rd item. You're going to like how easy it is to put this door in, because all you're going to do is you're just going to unlock it inside on either side, and then it's just a matter of the Velcro on the sides, and you have a snap on either corner on the outside, and it pulls out. Now just be careful, because remember, this roof line, as you can see, is going back. So you're just going to take that and set it on the bed. Now that door that you normally have when you're driving is right here. That will fit in that underneath storage like I showed you when we were outside. Now back here in the bedroom area, you do have a light switch over here that will turn on these 2 lights. Of course, you have room to put some storage up top there. You'll have storage on either side here. Now you're going to have a little storage under the bed. Remember I told you outside, this is going to the storage on the outside. Then this is where your porta potty is going to be, is under here. And you get to that from here or on the front side of your bed here. Let me just get around to the front here. And you don't necessarily need to store that there. You can store it wherever you'd like. Underneath your microwave, keep in mind that's where the wheel well is. So you can have access there. You can have a nice little drawer under your, well, not a drawer, I'm sorry, a little storage space underneath your refrigerator. nice tall cabinet here next to the refrigerator. And then little storage here. And remember, we talked about outside, you have access to that storage there. Lastly, you're going to have two other spots here next to your sofa and then underneath of your sofa. Now let's talk about how you make this sofa a bed. So the first thing you're going to want to do is, if you move this cushion out, I'm just going to move the cushion out so you can see. You don't necessarily need to move them out if you don't want to. You will when you put it away. So you can see how they have this piece of wood back in the back. So that kind of gives it so that you have a way that you can lean when you're sitting on that sofa. Now, if you didn't want to have that, you want to have it straight up and down, you could just fold that down if you wanted to. Wouldn't necessarily recommend that. Might need a little bit of oil on that hinge. And then all you're going to do is you're going to pull this out. Pull this out. It's a lot easier when you have two hands. And then it's just a matter of putting the cushions back in here. And there's your bed. Now, I'd mentioned this to a customer that just bought this the other day. Cool thing about this is, let's say, because remember I told you that bed was only 74 inches long? Guess what? If that bed's too short for you, maybe you're a little bit taller than most, you're able to make this the bed, and then that gives you a place for your feet to go. Now let's talk to you about this furnace, because this is important on here. What you have is this thing to turn your furnace on. When you pull it over, you'll hear it click, and then it'll come over. At which point you hear the fan coming on. Now we have no propane on here, so it won't light. When you shut this thing off, you just don't push it there. Push it so you hear it click. So you hear it click. That way there, you know that it is off, and it'll reset. I always recommend, prior to turning that on, light your burners and then shut them off. That way there, you know you've put LP through the lines. Now you hear the fan is still on. That will shut off here momentarily, realizing that we did shut it off. And it might take a little bit longer when you have it on heat, because it's going to run till it cools down a little bit. Stereo speakers here, there, and as well as you saw it outside. Now, in the event that you wanted to put the air conditioner in here, this is where it goes. If you don't want the AC, then you could have this little fan. Now, it's not a big fan, but you could put a big fan in there if you wanted to. Just understand one thing: you put that big power fan in there, make sure that you open a window. Now, they have the max air fans that have it where you can pull air in versus pulling it out, and that way there, that would probably be more beneficial to you, and it's remote control. Now, one last thing when you're pulling this thing down. They have these little tabs to help you pull the fabric in, but you must release that as you're pulling down on this handle here, because that's a little safety mechanism. That way there, if you're in high winds, it's not going to be closing it on you. So that's kind of a benefit to you. Now, you do have the ability, if you wanted to have it to where you have light coming in, or you go ahead and undo the clear screen and you can have airflow. So a couple different ways that you can utilize these for ventilation and additional light. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the all new, brand new 2021. This is the 12.0 TD Max. Be careful out there. There's a lot of misinformation on these. I hope that cleared up a lot of questions that were out there. And for more information on this camper, if you're in the market for one, remember, buy from the best because you deserve it. Give me a call. Let me find that perfect camper for you. Phone number is right there. Thanks again, and I'll be back at you again soon. Take care.